Richard Feynman was born in Far Rockaway, Queens, New York, on May 11, 1918. He would grow up to become one of the most influential and recognizable scientists of the 20th century, a man whose curiosity was as boundless as his intellect. But Feynman's journey didn't start in a grand laboratory or prestigious academy. It began in the small, sunlit rooms of his childhood home. From the very beginning, Richard's life was steeped in curiosity. His father, Melville Feynman, a quiet yet deeply thoughtful sales manager, had a remarkable way of nurturing his son's mind. Rather than giving answers, he posed questions, describing the world in ways that sparked wonder. Observing a bird in their backyard, Melville wouldn't just say, "That's a robin." Instead, he would explain the intricacies of its flight, its biology, its role in the ecosystem. Young Richard was captivated. He didn't just want to know what, he wanted to understand how and why. And then there was his mother, Lucille, whose playful sense of humor added another dimension to his upbringing. Between the two of them, Richard learned that life and learning could be joyful, playful, and endlessly fascinating. From an early age, Richard showed an extraordinary aptitude for mathematics and science. He devoured books, conducted experiments in a homemade laboratory, and quickly outpaced his peers and even some of his teachers. He had a knack for solving problems in unconventional ways. For instance, he didn't fix radios by following diagrams. No, he analyzed the circuits, figuring out flaws in the design itself. This logical, hands-on approach would become a hallmark of his scientific method. Feynman's formal education began at Far Rockaway High School, where his brilliance was already evident. Though he excelled in every subject, physics was his true passion. After high school, he faced a choice: Columbia or MIT. Richard chose MIT for its slightly less formal, more practical approach, a perfect fit for his inquisitive, independent mind. At MIT, he distinguished himself academically, but often clashed with traditional teaching methods. He found textbooks dull and preferred deriving equations himself, believing that true understanding came from building knowledge from the ground up. He graduated in 1939, earning the admiration of professors and peers alike, and was quickly admitted to Princeton University for his doctoral studies. Princeton became the perfect incubator for Feynman's intellect, though his social life was more challenging. He often felt isolated, struggling to connect with peers, a feeling that would linger despite later fame. Academically, however, he thrived under the mentorship of physicists like John Archibald Wheeler. His doctoral thesis, The Principle of Least Action in Quantum Mechanics, completed in 1942, introduced a revolutionary way of understanding particle behavior, the path integral formulation. This bold new approach was intuitive, yet radically different, laying the groundwork for ideas that would eventually earn him the Nobel Prize. Then came World War II. Feynman was recruited for the Manhattan Project, the top-secret effort to develop the atomic bomb. Initially stationed at Princeton, he soon moved to Los Alamos, New Mexico, the epicenter of the project. At just 24, he became an indispensable part of the team. Not designing the bomb itself, he excelled in calculations, spotting errors, and solving problems with creativity that often left his colleagues in awe. But Feynman was more than just a brilliant physicist. He was a character. At Los Alamos, he famously picked locks for fun, tested security protocols, and played pranks on colleagues. These antics were both a way to cope with the immense stress of the work and an expression of his playful spirit. Yet amid the brilliance and humor, there was also sorrow. In 1945, his beloved first wife, Arlene Greenbaum, succumbed to tuberculosis. Her death left a void that would stay with him forever. After the war, Feynman joined Cornell University as a professor of theoretical physics. Here, he refined the path integral formulation and developed the iconic Feynman diagrams, visual tools that simplified complex quantum interactions into understandable images. These diagrams revolutionized physics, making the invisible world of subatomic particles more tangible than ever. In 1950, Feynman moved to the California Institute of Technology, where he would spend the rest of his career. Caltech was a perfect match for his unorthodox teaching style. His lectures were legendary, dynamic, witty, and filled with contagious enthusiasm. He taught by example, encouraging students to question assumptions and think critically, rather than merely memorizing formulas. Feynman's work continued to push the boundaries of physics. His contributions to quantum electrodynamics, QED, the study of how light and matter interact, were groundbreaking. In 1965, he shared the Nobel Prize in Physics with Julian Schwinger and Shinichiro Tomonaga. Feynman's acceptance speech reflected his humility and joy in discovery, highlighting the interconnected beauty of scientific endeavor. Yet science was only part of Feynman's story. He explored a wide range of intellectual pursuits: superfluidity, nanotechnology, even genetics. Outside the lab, he embraced life fully, learning the bongo drums, painting, traveling, and constantly seeking new experiences. His personal life was unconventional, filled with love, loss, and adventure. After Arlene, he married Gwyneth Horwath in 1960, and together they raised 2 children, Carl and Michelle. In the 1980s, Feynman's reputation as a thinker and investigator led him to the Rogers Commission, investigating the Space Shuttle Challenger disaster. His insistence on hands-on verification, famously dipping the O-ring in ice water, cut through bureaucratic jargon and revealed the technical failures at the heart of the tragedy. His report was candid, unsparing, and emblematic of his commitment to truth. Feynman's influence went beyond the laboratory. He was a master communicator, capable of explaining the most complex scientific concepts in simple, engaging ways. His books, like Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, and What Do You Care What Other People Think, captured his humor, curiosity, and philosophical insights. These works offered a rare glimpse into the mind of a man who could see the universe with fresh eyes, endlessly questioning, imagining, and exploring. Throughout his life, Feynman maintained a childlike wonder about the world. He famously said, "I don't have to know an answer. I don't have to understand. I have to imagine." This simple yet profound statement encapsulates his approach to life and science: curiosity, imagination, and the relentless pursuit of understanding. Richard Feynman passed away on February 15, 1988, at the age of 69, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire. He was more than a Nobel laureate. He was a cultural icon, an eccentric genius, and a deeply human thinker. His contributions to quantum mechanics transformed our understanding of the universe, while his teaching, curiosity, and humor continued to spark wonder in scientists and dreamers alike. Feynman taught us that science isn't just about answers, it's about asking questions, exploring the unknown, and finding joy in the process.